guys, so there's a game that came out last year that was easily my favorite game of 2019. Only I can't remember the name. That's right, I'm finally going to talk about Jedi Fallen Order. So, you might be wondering why this review is a tiny bit late, or well, not really a tiny bit late, it's probably like 4 or 5 months late. The reason for that is because I wanted to really take my time and talk about why I like this game a lot and not just like make a 2-minute review on it, because that's a little cheap. The reason I say it's cheap to just make like a 2-minute video talking about this game is I feel like there's a lot more to say than what's said in 2 minutes, and I feel like there's a lot more to cover than I can cover in 2 minutes, so that's the reason. So I guess the first thing I want to mention is, man oh man, I really like the gameplay. It really reminded me of Uncharted, but like in space. Especially the parkour sections, and the lightsaber duels are possibly the best they've been since Force Unleashed and Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Initially, before playing this game, I was a little skeptical on whether it would be good or not, because Star Wars Battlefront 2 was not very good. And this was from the same people making it, EA. So I was a little skeptical, and then I finally played the game, and all my worries pretty much went away. My main problem with Battlefront 2 overall was that the characters were just really bland and the story was just really uninteresting overall. However, it's the complete polar opposite when compared to Fallen Order, because Fallen Order has very interesting characters that aren't bland at all, who are very leveled and have a lot of different characteristics, and it provides a story that is very interesting and isn't bound down by the canon. One of my favorite aspects of the game is the lightsaber customization. You can use a normal single-bladed lightsaber, a double-bladed lightsaber, or 2 dual-wield lightsabers. However, you can only use the dual-wield lightsabers for special attacks, and you can't use them like all the time, which was kinda disappointing. There's also a lot of different lightsaber colors. The one I found myself using the most was probably the green lightsaber, because Luke Skywalker. There's also a purple lightsaber in case you want to feel like Mace Windu, and an orange saber in case you want to be like Kyle Katarn. There's also a ton of different lightsaber colors, but these were the ones that I used the most. One of my biggest issues with the game is that, in my opinion, it was a bit too easy. I played it on normal difficulty and it didn't really get that difficult at all. Even at the boss fights, none of them were really that challenging. The only one that was really that hard was when you fight a fallen Jedi at one point who has succumbed to the Sith. That was the only one that was actually kinda hard. Every other one, including the final boss, was pretty easy, which was kinda disappointing. Oh yeah, and by the way, this review is also going to get into spoiler territory now, so if you don't want to be spoiled at all, then I would suggest just skipping forward in this review, because I'm going to get into plot details, so you've been warned. So, Darth Vader is like technically the final boss of the game, because he shows up after you beat the real final boss, and basically all you have to do is just run away from him. And I really did not like that he was in the game, because I much more preferred this game being kind of separate from the movies, even though it's still kind of connected to it, without being held down by the canon. But then in the last scene of the game, Darth Vader just kind of shows up, and then you have to evade him. You're not even really fighting him, you just have to avoid him and then leave, pretty much. And this made Darth Vader unintentionally look like the biggest idiot ever, because if he can't just fight and defeat Cal Kestis, then how is he supposed to seem like a true reckoning force? Favorite supporting character was Seer. She's like a fallen Jedi who used to be a Jedi Master, but then during the Great Purge, she entirely gave up her Jedi heritage, and now she runs a ship called the Mantis. I really liked her because she has a lot of wisdom that she teaches Cal, such as using the dark side as well as the light side in order to get something done. And that using the dark side isn't always necessarily a bad thing. Something I really liked about the game was the reveal that the main Inquisitor you're fighting throughout the game is actually Seer's former Padawan, Trilla. The reason I liked it is that it showed that Seer is really guilty, and so you can see why exactly she left the Jedi Order and is no longer using the Force. And Trilla attempts to turn Cal to the dark side, and Cal sort of considers it now that he knows that Seer once turned to the dark side herself, and also that Seer abandoned Trilla. So I really don't have much else to say about this game other than it's pretty good and you should play it. So my final grade is going to be... Now this isn't going to be a letter grade because it's a game. Now for letter grades, I only do that for movies. So for games, I'm going to do out of 10. So this gets a 8 out of 10. Pretty good game. You should play it if you have the time.